All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the 4th and 17 podcast.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, man, we're back here previewing the championship rounds. But we're gonna start off with things a little different here. We're gonna talk about some of the coaching carousels that's been going around the league. 7 open spots, 6 of them already been taken, with one still open. But hey, $1 million question that we always ask up front. Hemish, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. Like you said, getting closer to this. You know, I mean, this is what we've been waiting for all year, right? For this weekend. I see you got the vibes going. You got that.
Got the
What is it called?
diffuser. That's diffuser, by the way, in case anybody's
Yeah,
wondering. We keep
yeah,
keep
essential
this
oil
kosher.
diffuser. He
Yeah,
he
we
got
keep
he
this.
got the vibes going. So that was good, man. Looking forward to it. I think good matchups. I think the quarterback battles is. I mean, it's not going to get much better than this, right? Brady versus Rodgers. We always wanted that Super Bowl. Then we got the new young Bucks, Mahomes versus Allen. So that's exciting in its own part. Exciting weekend. Like you said, we got some news that we're going to go over. So let's start with that.
Let's start things off. So, all right. So some of the coaching hires around the league. The Atlanta Falcons, and again, some of this is maybe a little over a week, but we're gonna hop onto a lot of these coaching changes. Since the majority of them are filled up right now. Atlanta Falcons get Arthur Smith. Dan Quinn obviously held that position there in Atlanta. We can all say that that tenure kind of ended horribly. Let me ask you a question. I mean, do you think they got their guy? Do you think they got the guy that's right for this job?
Yeah, before this, I never saw a picture of Arthur Smith ever in my life, and then I was like, oh, that's what I would think Arthur Smith looks like. So, you know, so it fits. But dude, I mean, I listened to his intro video or whatever they had. He knows his shit. It's gonna be interesting because I mean, he was a hot candidate, and for the Falcons to like what they've seen from his rise to becoming OC for the Titans and what they've done there, and he created a really good offense over there after he took over Matt LaFleur, right? So,
Sure.
and he made that offense more dynamic with Ryan Tannehill. So, there's a positive there. We'll see what he does on the defensive side of the ball, right? Because that's where the Falcons usually have their problems. They're good on offense with Matt Ryan, even though he's older, Julio, Ridley, all these people. So I'm expecting their offense to be good and kind of tailored toward their players' strengths. But defense is where the question is going to be, and we'll see how this guy transitions. But for the Falcons, it's I think in the middle of of the coaching ranks or like the coaching hires, I would say. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
Offense is
I
probably
mean,
going to be.
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think that look, you bring in. I mean, he's an offensive coach. I think their offense is definitely going to be. You're going to see a bit of a change on that offensive dynamic. I mean, who knows what happens in the offseason with their players? I mean, they have a lot of veteran players, big contracts tied up to a lot of those players. But I mean, you saw. I mean, I think they led. They have one of the highest ranked offenses in the league right now. I mean, run game has been very outstanding, but you don't have a Derrick Henry on this Falcons team, right? I mean, I think that's
You
what
got
people
Todd
take for
Gurley.
granted, right? Say
Got
again?
Todd Gurley.
No, you
Todd
got
Gurley.
I mean Todd
I
Gurley,
know.
but Todd Gurley from unless you hop in your DeLorean and go back a couple of years, this is not the same Todd Gurley, right?
But
But
you can draft somebody. We've
oh,
been
for
seeing
sure,
so
for
they'll probably
sure,
do that. Get a
yeah,
workhorse.
yeah, for sure. And again, I mean Matt Ryan's a stat pattern; he puts up good numbers. So
Yeah,
I mean,
you said those stats. Their highest ranked offense, but it's a lot of garbage time. They're always
for
down.
sure,
So,
yeah.
but we
So
know that they're talented.
no, 100%, 100%. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a good hire, especially again going from Dan Quinn. I think you need some sort of change. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see. I mean, I- as we're seeing in the NFL, a lot of teams are going with this younger coaching. I
Offense
think
too.
yeah,
Offense.
very offensive minded, very young. I think Arthur Smith is like 38. So
He's
hey,
38.
yeah,
Boy
I think
looked
he's like
like
38.
boy
I
looked
know
like he was
he
pitching 50.
boy look like a frog, first of all, but it's all good. Hey, it's all good. We
Hey,
know.
you
Hey,
can't talk.
no, damn, always got to do some shit, man.
Oh.
All right, so yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens with this Falcons team. I think their defense is going to be a highly questionable, but I think one of the things that we can say about the Falcons is if you look at last season, there was a lot of close games that they were in. It's not like they got blown out, right? I think their record is not necessarily telling of who they were as a team. They blew a lot of leads, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with this coaching dynamic. I'm not sure if it just. I mean, I'm not sure if it's just a head coaching job. I think there's going to be a lot of
You need Oh, but
You
they
need
got a GM
personnel.
too.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
got
yeah.
GM too.
They got
So
yeah.
I think they're on the right track. But like you said, it's probably gonna be more of the same next year in terms of
Yep.
record and all that, how they play, because their defense needs a complete shift. So
Exactly.
we'll see how that goes. But yeah,
All right. So hey, around the league we go. Let's talk about the Detroit Lions. I mean, you and I were talking about them off air. You were talking about Dan Campbell's fiery intro speech.
yo man, I was ready. I was ready to punch the screen. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, that's some shit. I mean, one thing I know, he'll have his players like ready to go.
Mhm.
Mentally, like in the right state of mind, and I think they'll respect him. I mean,
Mhm.
I would hope. They hired him as coach, so hopefully he can back it up and be a good coach and leader for that team. But yeah, he kind of took over the Dolphins, earlier. I mean, not in the early, but like in the mid 2000s, and like took over. And I think he got a chance, but he got fired just because it was the Dolphins teams.
Sure.
But we'll see what he can do. We see what kind of staff he puts together, because that Detroit job is probably one of the worst out there, right? Like that organization needs a complete like culture change, like everything, like from personnel to everything. So we'll see how he does. They got a big question with Matthew Stafford. See what they do there. They need more like defensive talent. So we're gonna see. I know that team's gonna be physical, but besides that, I don't know where this guy's gonna like what his expertise is gonna be.
I mean, look, I think the biggest thing here, look, the Saints defense was really good. So I think you definitely bring him on to a team where, I mean, there's needs all around, right? So that you're bringing that defense focus first, and I think that's good. I mean, especially in a division where you have to go up against really good offenses. Aaron Rodgers see twice a year, so having that defensive mindset is great. But I'm not sure if this is necessarily just. I mean, they're going to need personnel too. I think the biggest thing that we're going to see with a lot of these teams is the coach is going to be at the top, but there's still a lot of work to be done. The coaching is not just going to come and be able to just run this team from the start and the get go. I mean, the Detroit Lions, that offense. I mean, Stafford's probably gone, right? Um, they're not. I don't see them moving much in terms of growth from where they were this past season to where they're going into next
Oh
season.
no, this is a full rebuild. Like you
Full
usually
rebuild.
see those
Full rebuild.
situations. This is going to be patient. I mean, they signed him to a 6-year contract, so that in itself shows he probably said this roster's trash. I need the time. You guys got to put your belief in me and the GM, whatever his contract is, too, and be like, all right, there's going to be some tough times, and we're going to get, as long as we grow
Yeah.
year over year, then we should be okay.
And the biggest trap that they need to make sure they don't fall into is exactly what they did with Matt Patricia, right? They brought a defensive minded coach, right? I
But I
mean,
don't think Matt
that's
Campbell's defensive minded. I don't think that's his ex. He was on. I mean, in the Saints, he was a tight end coach, so that's where he came from. He
sure.
was assistant head coach, tight end coach. So
Well, yeah. So
um,
I mean, we'll see. I'm just saying, like you just got to be careful that you fall in these traps, right? I mean, I think they're bringing in someone. I think how old is Campbell? I think Campbell's like
probably 40s.
44, 44. Yeah. So I mean, different change of dynamics that's going on there. I mean, Matt Patricia was just horrible, right? So I feel like the only way to go from here is up. I mean, I think
But
If you look at Matt Patricia's numbers, I mean, if you look at it, he inherited, not inherited, but when he inherited that team to where it was when he left and got fired last year, every year he got incrementally worse.
well, yeah, they were like a fringe playoff team with Jim Caldwell and all that. Like
And then it just started.
but GM too. I mean, personnel decisions kind of, but it all ties together. It's just like that's why I said that Detroit job is it's going to be one of the toughest and it's one of the worst. So
It is.
a
It
lot
is.
of
But
work
I
to be
think the
done.
best thing about it is that I think there's a little bit of cap there. There's a wiggle room in terms of money. There's a lot of money opportunity there. So we'll see what happens in the offseason with the team.
Yeah.
We're gonna skip the Houston job. Let's come back to that. Let's move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars got Urban Meyer. I think might be the biggest name, right, so to speak, on this list. College coach, college career coach. What do you think? You think he's going to make a huge impact in the
So
NFL?
I have an opinion for. I mean, the coach. He's been a winner everywhere he's been, but the only thing with him is like he wins like for a short period of time and then leaves. Like he up and like retires or leaves. So it's just like that. I think that's the big question around him, like how his health is and all that. That's the number one. But I don't. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be interesting to see whenever a college coach comes and wants to put his stamp on an NFL program, just because you're not getting top recruits and all this. So we're gonna see how he does without having like the top picks every year. Just like the best players in your program. Because Jacksonville, that's gonna be tough. how's he going to handle the losing? Because he hasn't had that. He's like, you look at his record, he's like lost like 10 games out of like 90 or something. Like his record was ridiculous.
Yeah,
So we'll see. It helps you get Trevor Lawrence, probably number one pick, right? Or whatever you do with that, probably take Trevor Lawrence. You're in a good spot. There's still some talent there, I think. So we'll see. I can't comment on it. I don't know. I just don't know how that translation is going to go from college to NFL. But the bigger thing with the Jacksonville Jaguars, man, they hired a GM by the name of Trent Baalke, and
sounds
you know,
familiar.
fucking when I saw that, like I was just like on Twitter and I'm following a lot of like 49ers people and just like people just like talk about that. They're like, why the fuck do they hire him? Like it's very, interesting that they went that route just because the reason why the 49ers are so bad after the Jim Harbaugh years and all that was his drafting and his like, I don't know, his roster maneuvering. Like it was horrible. Like we had so much cap. He fucking got like the worst like backup quarterback ever. It was just like personal decisions weren't there. So he didn't really have a hot run at the end. So I don't know what made them choose that route. The only
Okay.
thing I saw was Trent Baalke, Jim Harbaugh, that connection. So Urban Meyer is like, fuck you to Jim Harbaugh. And so I want to work with Trent Baalke because they have their little rivalry. So I don't know if that has to do with it, but because Trent Baalke was temporary GM
GM
last year.
interim.
Interim, yeah. Oh, look at you. There you go.
Big
Yeah.
words.
Yeah, so he was the interim GM. So I don't
I
know if
mean,
they wanted consistency and wanted to keep it that way for this year and drafting and all that because it's been a
yeah.
tough year. Maybe keeping that, but besides that, I don't know. We'll see.
I think the biggest thing that you're bringing with Urban Meyer. I mean, I know Trent Baalke's there, and we saw what he's done in the past with the Niners, but I have a feeling Urban Meyer has a little bit more of a personnel say in this decision, right? Like you're not pulling someone like that out of retirement who had a really cushy job as an analyst for, one of the bigger networks. You don't just get him to be a head coach. I think he has a little bit more sway than people are or that they're willing to admit. I think he's going to be in charge of a lot of the personnel decisions. Um, I think the biggest question mark here is this is his kind of big stepping stone, right? Like we've seen what he's done at the collegiate level, right? But this is his first time dabbling into the NFL. This is the big leagues, right? I mean, he's had a very illustrious career. Like you said, he's won basically everywhere he's been, so to speak, or he's at least turned that program around.
Mm-hmm.
But he hasn't done this in the NFL, right? And we've seen NFL player, we've seen NFL, ta- you know, top talent coaches come to the, not NFL, sorry, collegiate and top talent NFL coaches come to the NFL and they just don't pan out. So I'm curious to see what happens here, but we'll see what happens. I mean, I really like, the hire, but I think this is going to be something that you're going to have to keep your eye on. All
I
right.
think. Well, let me add one more thing. I think they just, that Florida. He has that Florida, background playing, coaching there. So I think that probably helps with getting fans and stuff behind the
Sure.
team. So I
Sure.
think that's a big thing too. But yeah.
All right. So a few more coaching changes here. Next one is the Chargers. The Chargers, whew, they go with Brandon Staley. Anthony Lynn gets fired. Again, going with a younger, sexier kind of coach. What do you think? I mean, he was a defensive coordinator from the Rams. Um,
Yeah, they
Chargers.
so not moving too far for him, going LA to LA right there.
Yes,
But yeah,
sir.
it's everything people have been talking about Brandon Staley is that he's been, he's really, really smart. He's bright, innovative, and it's funny that it's on the defensive side of the ball because usually, you see the offensive mind. We thought they're going to go day ball. You said there was some other things going on. So Chargers, I mean, I still like the guy. I still like the hire. But we'll see what kind of offensive staff and things he's putting together because his defense with the Rams was really good, right? They had good players and all that.
Yep.
And but I think they had three good players, and then the other ones you didn't really know their names of, and he was able to create a good system and fast defense around them. So that's good. I think the Chargers have just as much as talent as the Rams, I think, overall from top to
Exactly.
bottom. So I think
Exactly.
Chargers, if they get healthy, that defense, I mean, people have already been calling them a sleeper, right? Like even
Yep.
before this.
Oh
So
yeah.
with that, I think there, and then you bring a good OC because you need to bring a good OC, like no matter
Correct.
what. Herbert is the guy. He's, the building block of that team. You need to build around him and make sure the offensive mind, or maybe Staley's going to be part of that too, right?
Well, I mean, here's my thing, or I'll give you a quick take. I think this is the team where they already have the personnel. This is the exact opposite of like the Lions, where it's like a
Yeah.
rebuild. The Chargers have the personnel now, and I think the biggest thing here is that their defense has been kind of hurt the last couple seasons. You bring in a young defensive-minded coach because, as we saw last year, their offense is there, right? They have the pieces. Herbert came in, and that offense looked actually pretty damn good. Obviously, he's still a rookie. There's still things that need to be, you got to sharpen the sword, so to speak. But I think this is a great hire. I mean, I think a lot of us were kind of surprised at first, where we thought it was going to be offense, offense, offense. But this defense, I mean, I think honestly, this is the team where if they're going to win football games, it should be on the defensive side, right? Bosa's there. I mean, they have so many components on this team that we forget, right? I think we forget because they've been hurt. I think this upcoming season, if everyone can stay healthy, the Chargers are a team to be, to watch out for. So I like the hire. I really do. I think this is a great hire.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, I'm expecting the defense to be good. Maybe they think, Justin Herbert can do it all by himself on the offensive side, right?
No,
Like
or
he
you
did.
just get a qualified OC.
Well, that's the thing. Like you
Yeah,
just got to make sure, you get the right one. The only thing
exactly.
that I'm worried about is, he was a rookie. He lost his offensive coach, coordinator his first year. And then like he plays really like gets OC in a second year, plays well. That guy can probably move to being a coach, right? So it's just like you don't want to keep cycling through these OCs. So that's why I would have probably went with an offensive coach and let him grow, and then cycle through the DCs. That's just me.
Well, yeah, well, we'll see what happens over there in San Diego, but or LA, I should
LA.
say, but LA. But I like I said, I do like the hire, so we'll see what happens. All right, so two more coaching changes. New York Jets,
Ooh, I like this.
get your boy, Robert Saleh. What do you think? I
I
mean,
think
defensive. We're going defense. Defense.
no, Jets defense is really good too. I mean,
I
not really
know.
good,
I
but like
know.
last year,
No, they
very
have the
surprising.
pieces. They have the
Very,
pieces.
very surprising. So I think he saw that as an opportunity. Like maybe they're not that far away. I mean, you have high draft capital. You have that Seahawks pick too. So it's a very young team, and I think he got a 5-year contract. So that's long-term stability as well. So he's going to be there. Joe Douglas, the GM, really good, really bright guy, right from the Eagles. So people raving about him. He's done some good things with the Jets. So I think they're on the right track. Saleh gives him a good identity, and he's going to bring a good staff. I mean, it's going to be from that Kyle Shanahan tree, which is what's kind of blown up the NFL right now. McVay, LaFleur, all these guys. So that's going to be good. I think they can make Sam Darnold better, because I think the way the system they're probably going to bring in is kind of, we said Jimmy, like quick passes, like accurate over the middle stuff. And I think Darnold's going to excel in that type of passing game. They just need to get some players, their talent. They don't really have that much talent on the offensive side of the ball from receiver to running back. So I think, it's a work in progress there. But with a high draft pick and then, or multiple high draft picks, I think they're going to be back better than ever, because I think Salah's on the defensive side as well is going to do phenomenal. So I think offense is the question, right? But I think they're on the right track. This is a really good hire.
I mean, they brought in LaFleur, right? This team is going to be not. I mean, look, the biggest person I've been talking about this dude is my day one boy, USC fight on, Sam Darnold. If anyone's winning out of this, it's Sam Darnold.
Oh yeah,
because like you said, the components from the defense is already there, right? Like this team wasn't that. I mean, they weren't that bad defensively. They were. I mean, I wouldn't say they were great, but they had pieces, right? Which you bring in a defensive-minded coach.
They were in every game towards the end of the year.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the season, they were turning that corner, right?
Yeah.
So you bring a defensive-minded coach for a team that's already has, I think, that side of the ball solidified, and you bring in a nice young OC to help with this nice young quarterback, who I think is the best quarterback from the draft class that he came in. But the potential's there, right? So again, I mean, I'm joking a little bit, but I'm excited. I'm excited. So we'll see what happens with the Jets. I think they're a team to hopefully turn things around. They have personnel there, so we'll see. All right. Last but not least, Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Eagles.
Saved the worst for last, huh?
Oh, geez. They hired OC from the Colts.
What are your thoughts? They hired Nick Sirianni, right? Is that how you say his name?
Sirianni. Yep.
Your former coach's former offensive coordinator's offensive coordinator.
Correct.
Got that right. Yeah,
yep, that's correct. That's correct. Look, man. I mean, my 100%, like where I'm going with this, okay, is, am I upset at the hiring? No, I'm not. Right. I can't be, right. He's young, right? 39, I think. we saw what he did with that Colts team last year. I mean, that offense was not bad, right? Again, with an older Philip Rivers. Wait, why? I don't know why you're laughing. We talked about them as
Uh,
that surprise team. They actually surprised us, right? Granted, the fact that their defense was really good, but their offense wasn't horrible, right? Especially with Philip Rivers manning that thing. The run game looked really good, which the Eagles have a
offensive
lot of those
line.
kind of similar components. They do. They have a lot of those similar components, right? With like two or three set, running backs back there, right? I like that. They run a very heavy tight end package, which the Eagles have. Hopefully, seeing how things may work out, but Dallas Goddard still there. So, running that tight end pack. I mean, I think the pieces are there, right? I mean, a lot of similarities, and it seems like the Eagles definitely want to continue moving forward with Carson Wentz. That's exactly what a lot of the signs are showing. Um, if you ask me, at first I was kind of like, there was better coaching potential out there, but now that I'm looking back on it, I mean, it's kind of low risk, right? Potential high
Low
reward.
risk.
No,
I don't
I
know
really
about
don't.
low
I mean, I
risk.
really don't think no, because remember, the biggest thing with the Eagles coaching job was salary. Right now, we're at the cap, right? So the wiggle room that we have for this upcoming season is atrocious, right? So again, like the risk is low. You have to bring someone that's comfortable with working with the pieces that we have, and I think this is it. I think after looking at everything, and I think he might not be a bad. He's not a big name. He's not a household name, but I think at the end of the day, I think this is not a bad hire.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the thing I think about them is, like you said, they're trying to fix that Carson Wentz relationship. I don't know. I feel like he's going to want out, and I think that I don't know, what's going to happen there, but yeah, that it's they're trying to get that same system back with Frank Reich, right? Basically,
Correct.
where he excelled in his MVP years. So I get that part, but I just don't know if he's in alignment with being on that team. So that's completely different. But yeah, I don't know much about this guy in terms of like how he's going to be with defense. I don't know who your DC is going to be, right? It's a completely new defense. Schwartz isn't there anymore, so we'll see. That you guys have good talent on defense, right? In the front seven, or not even front. Your front four is really good. I don't know about your linebackers; they're okay, but you still have your offense line. If they're healthy, they're okay. Receivers, not that great. I think you guys need to get some pieces there. So we'll see. I mean, it's interesting, but I think next year is going to be a tough year for Eagles fans again. And
Yeah,
then
I agree.
the year after is probably when you'll be able to reap some benefits when draft picks, get some free agents and all that stuff. So we'll see. Definitely a surprise, right? So that there usually is one of those every coaching cycle. So
Yep.
let's see how this goes. And sometimes it works out. So
Exactly.
let's hope for the best for you guys.
Exactly. So, all right. So we talked about the coaching kind of carousel around the league. Let's focus in on the two big games in this
Yep.
conference
Yep.
championship
Yep.
weekend. First and foremost, Sunday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Buccaneers versus the Packers in the NFC showdown. Who you got?
I wish this was the night one. I wish this
I
was the
know.
night.
I know. You know what? Actually, they're both good games. You can't even go wrong with either of them, to be honest with you.
I know. I just like the cold weather game. I mean, they're both gonna be fucking cold weather. I
They're gonna
guess
be
I'm just
cold.
yeah. I don't know. I just like to sing the Kansas City field in the day. Like
It
it's
looks nice. Yeah.
yeah. But Lambeau at night, like that'd be clean too. So,
It's peak.
but yeah. Either way, I mean, weather's gonna. I don't know how bad the weather is, but we're in for two good games. I think they should be healthy and ready to go. But yeah, you said that first game, Packers Bucks, right? Rematch of their, these are both rematches of their Week 6 matchup. So that's really interesting
Oh,
too.
interesting. Interesting.
So I think this one, you can kind of look back to that game and take some ideas away from that one. Usually you can't do that, but because of just the way these teams play, I think the Packers, that was Aaron Rodgers' probably worst game early in the year. Um, they start off hot 10-0 lead, and then he threw that pick six, and then it was just downhill from there. And the thing about the Bucks, looking back, they stopped the run, right? They're fast, getting to Aaron Rodgers, making life hard on them. And when, like we said, when the Bucks or the Packers are down, it's really hard for them to come back because they have to go throw. You can't have a balanced offense. So with the Buccaneers, this is a pretty big thing. I mean, I just saw this. I mean, throughout the week was Vita Vea, their big nose tackle, defensive tackle. He's going to be back. I think he's trying to play this game, and he's been gone for a long time. And so he's their big like nose tackle, run
Nose tackle,
stuffer,
correct.
really good
Yeah.
pass rusher too. So if he's healthy, man, that's a game changer for the Bucs. Because what do you need to stop when you stop the Packers? Their run game. That's what they've been known for, and that's what the way they've been winning. So teams can't really run on the Bucs. That's one of the teams that it's really hard to run. They have a really good front seven, especially with those two linebackers, right, David and
Yeah.
White.
Yeah.
So that's the interest. I think that's the key battle right there. Is that Packers run game against the Bucs run defense, and I think it's going to be similar to what happened last time. But I don't expect Rodgers to play as bad. I think the Packers will make some plays. They're going to have some tricks up their sleeve, learn from that game. But yeah, I think it's going to be similar in how the Bucs are able to stop the Packers run game or
Yeah.
limit
So
it.
yeah. So I agree. Look, I think the Bucks are what they did in that week 6 performance was incredible, right? I mean, I think a lot of us at that point we were talking about Aaron Rodgers being the MVP of the season, right? And then all of a sudden,
That was Russ cooking.
well, but I'm saying like he was in the conversation. I mean, he was 4-1. I mean, there were 3 quarterbacks that we had talked about, right? And he was one of them. Then he goes into Tampa Bay and just gets obliterated. Obliterated.
Yeah,
And we were sitting there looking at them like, whoa, Aaron Rodgers looks bad.
I think people were saying, same fraudulent team of last year.
Exactly.
So,
Where you win the easy games, right? You're playing your division 6 times. And so those wins kind of add up, and then you play a above 500 team, a playoff level team, and you get killed. And it's exactly what we thought, right? But I do agree. I think the Packers are definitely going to make the necessary changes coming into this game part in particular. But the Buccaneers have that sauce. They know what they need to do because they did it. They know what they need to do to stop the Packers, right? The question, I think, who is going to win this game? The Packers are at home, right? The weather is definitely in their favor. But
I don't think it matters.
Who's the better team? Yeah. The question I think becomes is who's the better team, right? I think, like you said, the Buccaneers' run defense is good enough to stop the Packers from moving that ball. And I think that's one of the reasons where the Packers are able to kind of get that spacing for Devontae Adams is through that run game. And we saw what happened in week 6 where that run game was non-existent, right? I think their top rusher was Jamal Williams. He had like 35 yards. It put a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers. And so for me, I mean, I'm taking the Buccaneers. I think that run defense is, and like you said, if they get some key players back, it's going to be that much more harder for them to start their run game, right? And especially in such cold weather, I think. And I have the weather pulled up because you had asked. It's 27 degrees, right? With a chance of snow.
Yep.
That's fucking cold, bro. So typically in that type of weather, you try to avoid throwing the ball if possible because it gets all heavy and shit. All right, it's a science.
Well, but
I know Aaron Rodgers.
You see what he did against the Titans, right?
I know. It's Aaron Rodgers.
Fucked him up, but yeah.
But I think the Buccaneers defense is again veteran team, right? I mean, we saw what they did against the Saints last week. Again, they bring a lot of pressure. They bring a lot of heat. I know Aaron Rodgers is a different beast, right? Than hobbled Drew Brees, but I think this Buccaneers defense, like we talked about, every game that goes by, that momentum kind of takes over. So I'm taking the Bucs. I'm taking the Buccaneers in this game.
Yeah, no. So what are your thoughts on Bucs offense, Packers defense? Like, what? Give me some.
That's a good question. I mean, I was as much as I really,
because I mean. Yeah, go ahead. I'll give my 2 cents after.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like this. I like this Green Bay defense, right? I mean, they've at the same time, as much as I'm talking about the Buccaneers defense, I mean, this Green Bay defense has gotten progressively better through the season, right? And look, there's no secret that Buccaneers offense wasn't impressive last week.
No, that's because the Saints defense is really good.
Right, but that's I agree. The Saints defense is really good, right?
Yeah,
but I think Tom Brady is the person that you want there, right? Like he's been in these positions, right? Like he just does enough for you to win, right? Like he does enough where even if he's going up against a good defense, what you looking at me all sideways for? He does enough. Hey,
balling, bro. He has been balling.
Right. But like I was saying, last week he went up against the top defense, Did enough. 199 yards, 2 touchdowns. Right? You do enough. You do what's needed for you to win.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
don't think the Green Bay defense is as good as the Saints defense, and I think we all know that. So if he did just that minimum to get that W, I think he's going to do a lot more against this Green Bay defense. And again, I'm giving a lot of props to the Green Bay defense. I think the Green Bay defense has been again incrementally better week after week after week against even tougher components.
Components.
Opponents. I'm sorry, tougher opponents. So
Oh.
again, as they progress in the season, I think they've gotten better. But the Buccaneers make the necessary adjustments. You know what the scary thing is that I'm waiting for Rob Gronkowski to get a little bit more involved in the offense.
Yo, no, they tried last
You
game. I
know,
told you. I remember I said in the pod, I was like, they're gonna fucking throw him the ball. They
I
threw it to him
know.
like twice, and I was like, oh, I wanted that, so I could just come back here and be like, I told you. But it's gonna happen this game for sure.
No, but
He's their red zone. Him and Mike Evans are their red zone
they're
targets.
red
It's
zone
gonna happen.
targets. Exactly. So I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for that to I think that's that's the thing that they're waiting on. That's their trick play, right? I think everyone's looking at Gronk to be like a blocking tight end or just kind of like there as a decoy. I'm telling you, we only have 2 games left in the season. I think he's gonna go off. He's got to go off.
I think this game you'll see more of an impact from him. But I mean, last week it was gonna be tough just because Saints defense, their linebackers are really good, safeties are really good, really fast, and Gronk has lost a little bit of a step, so he looks a
Yeah,
little
for
bit.
sure.
So I think he might be able to capitalize on the Packers, but yeah, I think you made some good points there. Packers defense not as good as the Saints defense. Packers, I think the Saints' strong suit is their run defense, and the Packers' run defense is not as good. Although improved in the past month or whatnot, they don't got the big people up there. They don't got the fast linebackers, so it's going to be tough. I think the Bucs can exploit that. The secondary, I think it's gonna be a lot hard on Brady. He's gonna have to be really accurate and crisp because Jair Alexander is there, Kevin King, Savage. They have a pretty good secondary. Alexander's probably a top 5 cornerback, so he's gonna be sticky with Mike Evans. So it's gonna be on Call God AB and Chris Godwin to show
Yeah,
up. We'll see how
yeah,
AB is. He was hurt, right? So
yeah.
it's a big thing. But the 2 running backs, man, we forget about them. Fournette,
Fournette,
Ronald Jones,
Rojo.
second round pick, and then Fournette's first round pick, right?
Yeah.
That's a hell of a 1-2 combo. Buccaneers offensive line is one of the best in the league, and Brady, the way they've created their offense right now is they keep an extra man in to protect
Yep.
him, and just those lasers everywhere. And we're gonna see that he's gonna have his opportunities because I think the Packers pass rush is not as good as people think.
Yep.
Only good guy they have is Darius Smith. Preston Smith underwhelming, and then Rashawn Gary, he's been coming into zone, but he's kind of underwhelming as well. But so all the signs, it just fucking bad matchup for the Packers. That's just all it is. It's just like the Bucs match up so well.
And again, I want to put this out there for our listeners, right? Like, I'm not trying to shit on the Packers, right? Because at the same time, the Packers went up against arguably the top defense in the league last week,
I
and they
never
beat them,
thought
right? No,
they're good, but yeah.
but I'm saying they put up 32 points on the Rams, right? I mean, it's they still found a way, right? Is what I'm trying to say. But again, I don't want to discredit the Packers. I mean that.
Go ahead.
You gotta go.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't want to discredit. This is us. This is us at work, y'all. So we got to make sure we got to make sure everything's buttoned up. Yeah. I mean, for me, I just want to make I don't want to discredit the Green Bay Packers, man. I think their offense. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, as long as he's running that ship, it's going to be a close game. But just be mindful of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still expecting, although we said, the Packers, offense and their limitations on running the ball, I think their passing game should have, a good game. Rodgers is still that guy. I don't think the Buccaneers pass rush is as good as it was early in the year. So I think Rodgers will have his opportunities. He's still an MVP, man. So
Yeah.
he's going to make his plays. I think Adams, against those corners that the Bucs have is going to be good to see.
Yep.
But they're not at the level of Jalen Ramsey or anything like that. So
Correct.
I think Adams will get his. It'll be interesting to see.
It's
Man.
gonna be a fun game. Yeah.
It's gonna be a good matchup, but I just like the matchup more for the Bucs, and I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna take the Bucs, but it's gonna be a close game. It's gonna be much closer than the last game.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. All right. So the game of the week, the Sunday night game, the Chiefs, the Bills. Is Mahomes playing? Is he not playing? I don't know.
Is this on CBS?
This game, I think if it's the night game, I think it's on NBC.
You said like 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock.
Yeah, but who knows, man? Who
It's probably
cares?
gonna
Who
be.
cares? Who cares what it's on?
Well, I want Romo and Nance, man. That's
Oh
why.
yeah,
That's
Romo Ness would be nice. That would be nice. But who you got in
because
this game, man?
this is tough, man. This
I
is
know. I
because
know.
like I said, the other game, week 6, you can take a lot of takeaways from that game, but in this game you cannot because Bills defense not as good as they were. They were banged up, and then the Chiefs offense was not as good as it is now. Because early in the year, Chiefs when teams were playing the Chiefs, they were limiting. That's when the Chiefs were struggling in their offense, right? We saw them close games against the Chargers. They lost to the Raiders the week before. All those things, like people were giving them tough because they were playing them in a new way that the Chiefs hadn't seen. They're taking away a lot of their uh, deep looks and everything like that. So they're playing deep zones, and then everything was underneath, and the Chiefs didn't know what to do. But this game was much closer than people think.
Christ.
So I mean, even with all that, I think Josh Allen. I think I saw an interview with him with Chris Sims. He said that was the first game where teams attacked us in a new way too. So that's why the Bills struggled in that game as well. So, man, it's gonna be a good game, man. Like fuck, it's just like who do you like more? Like it's like I feel
Exactly.
like I like Mahomes and Allen just as much. Like just this year, the thing about Mahomes, he's been there, done that, right? So we have like this trust with,
Quietly. Quietly.
yeah, his first 3 years, three AFC championship games.
But I'm saying like I feel like like what he's done this year, right? Like it's quiet.
Okay,
Because we've been
but
talking about at the beginning, it was talking about Russell Wilson. Then after he tapered off, it's
uh,
Aaron Rodgers.
it
And
it,
like
it
quietly, Mahomes has just been super consistent.
it's
We forgot about him. As crazy as that sounds.
it's like like LeBron and Steph, like people like they're so used to their like sustained success. It's just like they just underrate them. Like I mean, LeBron, for example, like people would expect the MVP talk. That's probably the
Every
better
year.
parallel. Like
Every
it's
year.
just like, all right, like we'll pass him over. New guy, Giannis. Oh, cool. Like
Exactly.
it's like So yeah, I mean, but one thing I didn't notice this, but all the Chiefs games, like a lot of their games in the regular season came down to one possession, like so
They've had a lot
crazy.
of close games. A lot of close
So it's just
games.
like, are they not putting their foot on the gas pedal? Which I think it is. Like they don't take teams seriously, and more than like teams playing them well. I think they
Well,
they
I think
they
it's a bit of
punish.
both. I think it's a bit of both.
Well,
I think it's
it works hand in hand, right?
right, right. But I mean, I think it's the fact that look, they know how good they are, right? I mean, when they were able to bring back a lot of their personnel, right? They had a lot of expiring contracts. They re-signed a lot of them. People were like, "Wait, how the fuck did they maneuver this?" And they gave Mahomes basically the entire
Half
state
a
of
billy.
Kansas, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how they afforded that, right? But they were able to bring their, most of their key components from the Super Bowl winning team back, and people were still like, "What?" And then I think teams are looking at the barometer. They want to make sure that they can compete with where the Chiefs are. So I
Oh,
think it's a bit of
they
both.
had that target on their back, right? So
Exactly, exactly. So
that's
you bring your
that's
better game, you bring your better game.
yeah.
Um, and look, that in that first meeting between the Chiefs and the Bills, right? The Chiefs early this season, I mean, they kind of were I mean, Clyde Lar,
Sleepwalking. They're
right?
just
Uh,
nonchalant.
Clyde Lar, right? He was, I mean, he was still in rotation. He had 161 yards that first game they played. I mean, these teams are coming in with a different look, different perspective, so to speak, right? I mean, the Bills, that connection with Diggs and Allen is gotten more robust as the season's gone on, right? Like this is going to be two teams playing. Yeah, they've seen each other. They haven't seen each other like this. They haven't seen each other like this. Like they've gotten tremendously better as the season's progressed. I mean, the Bills specifically. I mean, that defense is coming together. That offense is rolling. I mean, Josh Allen is, that conversation of him being that potential MVP was again rolling as the season progressed. I mean, these two teams who we saw in week 6 is nowhere near where they are right now. I mean, they're on a different
No,
level.
no, yeah, no, it's not. But you talk about the Bills defense, right? Like we're giving all this praise for their wins that they've been racking up late in the season, but it's mainly against one-dimensional teams. You look late in the season, they play the Dolphins, right?
Yep.
This offense is not that great, so you can
No.
put all your eggs in the run game basket and make Tua
Sure.
throw it rookie. So that's a you would say one-dimensional offense. The Patriots one-dimensional offense.
Sure.
Bills fucked them up.
Sure.
Then you look at the only team that was kind of balanced was the Colts, right? Colts, They have a good balance, and they gave them their run for their money. So
They did. They did. It came
so
down to the last possession.
so the Bills, if they can, if they're able to put all their eggs into one basket, they're going to do really well. Their defense is Sean McDermott will come up with a good game plan to put pigeonhole you into this, like
Sure.
just do this other thing. But Colts, we saw what happens. That was a close game. We all agreed Colts should have probably won that. They fucked that up. So that's interesting. And then people going crazy about the Bills defense after this last game against the Ravens. What do you do against the Ravens? You stop the run, or you put it on the run, put the game in Lamar Jackson's hands in terms of passing the ball. And what happened? The Bills defense did really well. Chiefs, this is going to be really difficult because we know they can be balanced. I think Clyde should be playing. I think he'll be back,
If
but
he's back. Yeah.
but even then, the Chiefs don't really need a running game. Like they can do screens, tosses.
Well, Tyreek Hill can play running back if they really needed to.
They,
So versatile.
this is not a one-dimensional. So it's going
Correct.
to be interesting to see how the Bills, come in with the game plan of what they want to stop, and it'll be really telling. But if I'm the Bills, I just try to stop one thing and double Kelsey or something like that. Take your chances with Hill. Stay strict in your passing game and all that. But go shot for shot with the Kansas City Chiefs, man. You have the offense, you have the personnel.
Yep.
It's gonna be a heavyweight battle, man. You have to go in and fucking be ready to.
I 100% agree. I think they're going to have to find a way to get, again, you're going to have to take a risk, throw those 50-yarders, get Stephon Diggs on one-on-one and have him kind of beat the court. I mean, it's going to have to come down to those, right? You can't play safe. You can't, you know what I mean? No dump offs. You've got to be able to take a risk when you see those one-on-one opportunities. So who you got in this game?
Chiefs, man.
Chiefs. So last question, even if anything is possible plays, if Chad Henne plays,
no.
hypothetically speaking, which I don't think the NFL, they'll let Mahomes go there with one arm. But if for whatever reason he can't go, do you think Chad Henne?
Bills are gonna win. I don't think that we saw, dude. He saw that fucking interception. That was like in the middle of like the fucking center of the game. He just fucking threw that pick. But like people are worried about the concussion, but Mahomes was hobbling on that foot. So we're gonna see how well he does. Because one of the greatest things that Mahomes does that people don't understand,
playmaking,
he's the
extending
best
the play.
Fucking improviser there is. Like he'll take 12-yard drops, run around, fucking scurry around, get a first down. That's his best trait, and he has the cannon to throw from anywhere. So we'll see what he does. I hope it doesn't limit him because that's part of his greatness. But if he's able to overcome that, because people are saying it's turf toe, and that shit hurts once you get going. So if he's able to overcome that and beat this Bills team that people are talking about, that's like the number one hot team right now in the playoffs and whatever. It's gonna be a lot, man. That's just gonna be greatness for him. But on the other side, I'm still expecting Josh Allen to make his plays. Everything we're saying about stopping Mahomes, you got to do the same thing against Josh Allen.
Just as versatile, just as big of an arm.
I just think the Chiefs defense, they've come through so many fucking times in so many situations that I'm expecting they may give up a couple touchdowns here and there, but when you need them to buckle down and make that play, they're going to be able to make that play. The interesting thing is, I think Josh Allen is really good against blitzes. I think he's the number one quarterback against blitzes, and that's what the Chiefs do. They bring that pressure against Josh Allen because you just make one guy miss. It's he has the arm to make up for it. So that's gonna be interesting to see what Spagnuolo does because you're not be able to blitz them. They're going to play coverage, creative, but I'm expecting a really a good game. I like the Chiefs' balanced offense with their running game. Bills don't really have a run game, so they can't really keep it honest. But
nope,
it hasn't hurt them recently, right?
It hasn't hurt them thus far. I mean, they've been able to again just use the running back as a way to garner a few yards here and there. But the Chiefs are
they're the top. They're top dog, baby.
I know. You got to come in with your A game. And again, I think that's going to help the Bills come in with a little bit more. I mean, this game's going to go one of two ways, right? It's either
Chiefs win or Bills win, right?
Well, no. No, I mean, I think that it's whether or not the Bills can keep up. Well, like you said, the biggest thing for the Bills is going to keep up with that pace. If they cannot keep up with the pace with the Chiefs, this game is over before it even gets started. I really do. I mean, you have to be able to keep up with pace with the Chiefs. So exciting 2 games. I mean, honestly, these are some of the you could have asked for these 2 matchups this coming championship round. So we'll see what happens in the conference championship games this coming Sunday. That's it. I mean, that
was a good pod, man.
It was a good pod. All right, y'all. Well, it's the 4th and 17 podcast.
We out.
We out.
Peace.